The city skyline stretched endlessly, a glittering maze of glass and steel. At the very top of one of the tallest skyscrapers, Liam Parker stood in silence, gazing out of the floor-to-ceiling windows of his father's office. The view was breathtaking, but to Liam it felt suffocating. This was the world he was born into, a world of power, wealth, and expectations, and today those expectations were about to crush him. "Liam," his father, William Parker, said firmly, his voice echoing in the grand office, "this isn't just about you. It's about the family. It's about the business." Liam turned to face his father, his jaw clenched. "You mean it's about control? You want me to marry Charlotte Hayes because it's good for the company, not because it's what I want?" William's expression hardened. "Charlotte is a smart, capable woman. Her family's influence will secure the future of Parker Hotels. This is your responsibility, Liam. You're the heir to this empire." Liam's mother, Margaret, sat quietly on the leather sofa, her hands folded neatly in her lap. She didn't speak, but her eyes pleaded with Liam to listen. She had always been the mediator, the one who tried to smooth over the cracks in their family. But this time, Liam wasn't going to bend. "I've done everything you've asked of me," Liam said, his voice rising. "I went to the schools you chose. I worked in the company. I've lived my entire life under your rules. But this is too far." William's voice grew colder. "You don't have a choice. This is your duty." Liam's heart pounded in his chest. He felt like a pawn in a game he never wanted to play. The weight of his father's words pressed down on him, but deep inside, a spark of defiance began to grow. "I won't do it," Liam said, his voice steady but firm. "I won't marry someone just to please you." William's face darkened. "If you walk away from this, you walk away from everything. No inheritance, no position in the company." Liam didn't flinch. "Then so be it." He turned and walked out of the office, his footsteps echoing in the silence. Margaret called after him, her voice trembling, but Liam didn't stop. He felt a strange mix of fear and freedom as he stepped into the elevator. For the first time in his life, he was making a decision for himself. That night, Liam packed a small bag and left the city. He didn't know where he was going, but he knew he needed to get as far away as possible. The bright lights of the city faded in his rearview mirror as he drove into the unknown, leaving behind the life he had always known. The hum of the car engine was the only sound accompanying Liam Parker as he drove down the winding coastal highway. The city was far behind him now, replaced by the open road and the endless expanse of the ocean to his left. For the first time in years, he felt a sense of calm, the weight of his family's expectations, the suffocating boardrooms, and the constant pressure to be the perfect heir. It was all fading into the background. After hours of driving, Liam spotted a small wooden sign on the side of the road. "Welcome to Seabreeze Cove." The letters were slightly faded, but the charm of the town was undeniable. Nestled between rolling hills and the sparkling coastline, Seabreeze Cove looked like something out of a postcard. Quaint cottages with white picket fences lined the streets, and the scent of salt water mixed with the aroma of freshly baked bread from a nearby bakery. "This is it," Liam muttered to himself as he pulled into the town. He didn't know how long he would stay, but something about this place felt right. It was quiet, unassuming, and far removed from the chaos of his old life. He parked his car near the town square, where a small bookstore caught his eye. A sign in the window read, "Rooms for rent, inquire inside." Liam stepped inside, greeted by the soft chime of a bell above the door. The air smelled of old books and coffee, and a kind-looking older woman stood behind the counter. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice warm and welcoming. "I saw the sign," Liam said. "I'm looking for a place to stay." The woman smiled. "You're in luck. We've got a cozy room upstairs. Nothing fancy, but it's clean and quiet." "That sounds perfect," Liam replied. He didn't need luxury, he needed simplicity. After settling into the small but comfortable room, Liam decided to explore the town. he wandered through the cobblestone streets, taking in the sights and sounds of Seabreeze Cove. The locals greeted him with friendly nods, and the pace of life here was refreshingly slow. It was a stark contrast to the fast-paced, high-stakes world he had left. As he walked, Liam's attention was drawn to a small cafe on the corner of the street. The sign above the door read, "The Lighthouse Cafe." The building was charming, with large windows and flower boxes overflowing with colorful blooms. Inside, the sound of soft jazz music played, and the warm glow of string lights created an inviting atmosphere. Curious, Liam stepped inside. The cafe was bustling with activity, locals chatting over coffee, a young couple sharing a slice of pie, and a barista expertly crafting lattes behind the counter. But it wasn't the cozy ambiance or the smell of freshly brewed coffee that caught Liam's attention. It was the woman behind the counter. She was in her late 20s, with auburn hair tied back in a loose ponytail and a determined look in her hazel eyes. She moved with purpose, balancing trays of pastries and chatting with customers as if she had known them her whole life. There was something about her, an air of resilience and warmth, that immediately drew Liam in. "Welcome to the Lighthouse Cafe," she said with a smile as Liam approached the counter. "What can I get for you?" Liam hesitated for a moment, caught off guard by her friendly demeanor. "Just a coffee, please, black." "Coming right up," she replied, turning to prepare his order. "You're new around here, aren't you? I don't think I've seen you before." "Yeah," Liam admitted. "I just got into town. I thought I'd stay for a while." "Well, welcome to Seabreeze Cove," she said, handing him the steaming cup of coffee. "I'm Amelia Brooks, by the way. My family's owned this cafe for years." "Liam," he said, offering a small smile. "Nice to meet you." As Liam took a seat by the window, he couldn't help but watch Amelia as she worked. She seemed to know everyone who walked through the door, greeting them by name and asking about their families. It was clear that the Lighthouse Cafe wasn't just a business, it was a cornerstone of the community. For the first time in a long time, Liam felt a sense of belonging. He didn't know what the future held, but something about this little cafe and the woman who ran it made him feel like he was exactly where he was supposed to be. The morning sun streamed through the large windows of the Lighthouse Cafe, casting a warm glow over the rustic wooden tables and mismatched chairs. Amelia Brooks moved quickly behind the counter, her hands a blur as she prepared orders and greeted customers with her signature smile. To anyone watching, she seemed like the picture of confidence and energy. But beneath her cheerful exterior, Amelia was carrying a heavy burden. The cafe had been in her family for decades, passed down from her parents, who had poured their hearts into making it a beloved part of Seabreeze Cove. But after their sudden passing 2 years ago, the responsibility of running the cafe had fallen entirely on Amelia's shoulders. She had taken on the challenge without hesitation, determined to honor their legacy. But the reality of keeping the business afloat was far more difficult than she had imagined. Bills were piling up. The bank had sent another notice just last week, warning of potential foreclosure if she didn't catch up on her payments. The equipment in the kitchen was outdated and the roof needed repairs after last winter's storms. Amelia had tried everything she could think of: special promotions, new menu items, even catering for local events. But it never seemed to be enough. "Amelia, table 3 needs their check," called her younger brother, Noah, as he carried a tray of empty plates back to the counter. "Got it," Amelia replied, grabbing the receipt and heading to the table. Noah, a high school senior, had been helping out at the cafe after school and on weekends. He was a good kid, always willing to pitch in, but Amelia hated that he had to see her struggle. She wanted him to focus on his studies and enjoy his last year of high school, not worry about the cafe's future. "Hey, Noah," she said softly as she returned to the counter. "You don't have to stay late today. Go hang out with your friends or something." Noah frowned. "I don't mind staying. You've been working non-stop, Amelia. You need a break." Amelia smiled and ruffled his hair. "I'll be fine. Go on, I've got this." As Noah reluctantly left, Amelia leaned against the counter, letting out a quiet sigh. She glanced around the cafe, taking in the familiar sights, the old chalkboard menu with its smudged writing, the faded photographs of her parents hanging on the walls, the regular customers who had become like family. This place was her home, her dream, and her connection to the people she loved most. Losing it wasn't an option. But Amelia didn't just want to keep the cafe open, she wanted to make it something more. She had big dreams for the Lighthouse Cafe. She envisioned it as a true community hub, a place where people could gather for live music, art workshops, and poetry nights. She wanted to host farmers markets in the courtyard and create a space where local artists could showcase their work. The cafe had so much potential, but without the resources to make those dreams a reality, it felt like she was running in circles. As she wiped down the counter, the bell above the door chimed, and Amelia looked up to see Liam Parker walking in. He had been coming to the cafe every day since he arrived in Seabreeze Cove, always ordering the same black coffee and sitting by the window with a notebook in hand. There was something intriguing about him. He was polite and reserved, but there was a quiet intensity in his eyes, as if he was carrying his own set of troubles. "Morning, Liam," Amelia said with a smile. "The usual?" "Morning," Liam replied, returning her smile. "Yeah, that'd be great." As she prepared his coffee, Amelia couldn't help but wonder about him. He had mentioned he was a freelance travel writer, but he didn't talk much about himself. Still, there was something about him that felt genuine, and she appreciated the way he always took the time to ask how her day was going. "Here you go," she said, handing him the cup. "How's the writing coming along?" Liam chuckled softly. "Ooh is slow, but I'm getting there. This place helps, though. It's got a good vibe." Amelia's smile widened. "Glad to hear it. Let me know if you need a refill." As Liam took his usual seat by the window, Amelia felt a small flicker of hope. Maybe things weren't as hopeless as they seemed. She had built this cafe with love and determination, and she wasn't ready to give up on it, or herself just yet. The late afternoon sun cast a golden glow over the Lighthouse Cafe, and the usual hum of activity had quieted as the lunch rush came to an end. Amelia Brooks stood behind the counter, wiping down the espresso machine and mentally preparing for the long list of tasks she still had to tackle before closing. The cafe was her sanctuary, but it was also a constant reminder of the uphill battle she was fighting to keep it alive. The bell above the door chimed, and Amelia glanced up to see a man she didn't recognize step inside. He was tall, with dark hair that looked slightly tousled from the wind, and he carried himself with a quiet confidence that immediately caught her attention. He paused for a moment, taking in the cozy interior of the cafe, before making his way to the counter. "Hi there," Amelia said, offering her usual warm smile. "Welcome to the Lighthouse Cafe. What can I get for you?" The man hesitated for a moment, as if he wasn't quite sure what to say. "Just a coffee, please. Black." "Coming right up," Amelia replied, turning to prepare his order. As she worked, she couldn't help but steal a few glances at him. He didn't look like a local. His clothes were simple but well-made, and there was an air of sophistication about him that seemed out of place in a small town like Seabreeze Cove. Still, there was something about him that felt approachable, even familiar. When she handed him the steaming cup of coffee, he offered a small smile. "Thanks, this place is nice, cozy." "Thanks," Amelia said, her smile widening. "My family's owned it for years. It's a bit of a labor of love." The man nodded, taking a sip of his coffee. "I can see that. It's got a good vibe." Amelia leaned against the counter, curious. "You're not from around here, are you?" "No," he admitted. "I just got into town. Thought I'd stay for a while." "Well, welcome to Seabreeze Cove," Amelia said. "I'm Amelia, by the way." "Liam?" he replied, meeting her gaze. "Nice to meet you." For a moment there was a comfortable silence between them, the kind that didn't need to be filled with words. Amelia could tell there was more to Liam than he was letting on, but she didn't press. She had learned over the years that everyone had their own story, and sometimes it took time for people to share it. "Feel free to grab a seat," she said, gesturing to the tables by the window, "and let me know if you need anything else." "Thanks," Liam said, carrying his coffee to a corner table. He pulled out a small notebook and pen, his brow furrowing slightly as he began to write. Amelia watched him for a moment before turning her attention back to her work. But she couldn't shake the feeling that there was something different about him. As the afternoon wore on, Liam stayed in the cafe, occasionally glancing out the window at the bustling street outside. Amelia found herself stealing glances at him, curious about the quiet stranger who had wandered into her life. He didn't seem like the typical tourist passing through town, and she wondered what had brought him to Seabreeze Cove. Later, as she was refilling the sugar jars, she noticed Liam standing near the counter, holding the empty coffee cup. "Need a refill?" she asked, already reaching for the pot. "Actually," Liam said, a hint of a smile playing on his lips, "I was wondering if you needed any help. I noticed the light above the door flickering earlier. I'm pretty good with repairs." Amelia raised an eyebrow, surprised. "You're offering to fix my light?" "Only if you don't mind," Liam said. "I've got some time, and I like keeping busy." Amelia hesitated for a moment before nodding. "Sure, why not? The tools are in the back. I'll show you." As Liam followed her to the small storage room, Amelia couldn't help but feel a spark of curiosity. Most people wouldn't offer to help a stranger, let alone fix something for free. There was something genuine about Liam, something that made her want to trust him. A few minutes later, Liam was standing on a step stool, carefully replacing the faulty bulb. Amelia watched from below, arms crossed, a small smile tugging at her lips. "You weren't kidding," she said. "You really do know what you're doing." Liam chuckled. "I've had some practice. My dad used to make me fix things around the house when I was a kid." "Well, I appreciate it," Amelia said. "I've been meaning to get to that for weeks, but there's always something else that needs my attention." Liam stepped down from the stool, brushing his hands off. "All done. Shouldn't give you any more trouble." "Thanks, Liam," Amelia said sincerely. "I owe you one." "Just glad I could help," he replied, his smile soft but genuine. As Liam returned to his seat, Amelia felt a strange sense of comfort. She didn't know much about him yet, but there was something about Liam Parker that made her feel like she wasn't alone in her struggles. Maybe, just maybe, his arrival in Seabreeze Cove was exactly what she and her cafe needed. The days in Seabreeze Cove passed slowly, but for Liam Parker, that was exactly what he needed. Each morning he found himself drawn to the Lighthouse Cafe, where the smell of freshly brewed coffee and the sound of soft jazz music created a sense of peace he hadn't felt in years. And, of course, there was Amelia Brooks. Amelia had a way of making everyone feel at home. Whether it was a kind word, a warm smile, or a quick joke, she had a natural charm that made people want to stay just a little longer. For Liam, her presence was magnetic. He admired her resilience, her determination to keep the cafe running despite the challenges she faced. And though he didn't say it out loud, he could see the weight she carried, the long hours, the financial strain, the quiet moments when she thought no one was watching. One afternoon, as the cafe was winding down after the lunch rush, Liam noticed Amelia struggling to carry a heavy box of supplies from the back room. Without thinking, he stood up and walked over to help. "Here, let me get that," he said, taking the box from her hands. Amelia looked up at him, surprised but grateful. "Thanks, Liam. You didn't have to do that." "I don't mind," he replied with a small smile. "Besides, I can't just sit there and watch you do all the work." Amelia laughed softly. "Well, in that case, I might have a few more things for you to carry." Over the next hour, Liam helped Amelia reorganize the storage room, moving boxes and fixing a wobbly shelf that had been bothering her for months. As they worked, they talked about the town, the cafe, and their lives. Liam kept his answers vague, careful not to reveal too much about his past. But he found himself opening up more than he expected. "So, what made you come to Seabreeze Cove?" Amelia asked, as she handed him a stack of menus to place on a high shelf. Liam hesitated for a moment before answering. "I needed a change. Life in the city was complicated." Amelia nodded, sensing there was more to the story but choosing not to press. Well, I'm glad you ended up here. This town has a way of growing on you. Yeah, Liam said, glancing around the cozy cafe. I can see that. As the afternoon turned into evening, Amelia decided to take a break and join Liam at one of the tables. She brought over 2 cups of coffee and a plate of cookies, setting them down with a smile. Consider this your payment for all the heavy lifting, she said, sliding the plate toward him. Liam chuckled. I think I got the better end of the deal. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, sipping their coffee and watching the sun dip lower in the sky. The golden light filtered through the windows, casting a warm glow over the room. It was a simple moment, but for Liam it felt significant. He hadn't felt this kind of peace or connection in a long time. You know, Amelia said, breaking the silence, I've been thinking about hosting an event here, something to bring the community together and maybe draw in some new customers. What kind of event? Liam asked, intrigued. Something like a coastal nights evening, Amelia explained, her eyes lighting up with excitement. Live music, local artists, maybe even a little farmer's market in the courtyard. I want this place to be more than just a cafe. I want it to be a space where people can connect. That sounds amazing, Liam said, genuinely impressed. What's stopping you? Amelia sighed, her enthusiasm dimming slightly. Money, mostly. And time. I'm barely keeping up with the day-to-day as it is. Liam leaned forward, his expression thoughtful. What if I helped? I mean, I don't know much about running a cafe, but I could help you plan the event, set things up, whatever you need. Amelia looked at him, surprised. You'd do that? Of course, Liam said with a shrug. I've got the time, and I'd like to help. Besides, it sounds like a great idea. For a moment, Amelia didn't say anything. She wasn't used to people offering to help without expecting something in return. But there was something about Liam, something genuine, that made her want to trust him. Okay, she said finally, a small smile spreading across her face. Let's do it. Over the next few days, Liam and Amelia began working together to plan the event. They brainstormed ideas, reached out to local musicians and artists, and even started spreading the word around town. Liam was surprised by how much he enjoyed the process. It felt good to be part of something meaningful, to contribute to a community that had already started to feel like home. As they spent more time together, Liam and Amelia's bond grew stronger. They shared stories, laughed over small mishaps, and supported each other in ways neither of them had expected. For Liam, Amelia's passion and determination were inspiring, and for Amelia, Liam's quiet strength and willingness to help reminded her that she didn't have to face everything alone. One evening, as they were wrapping up for the day, Amelia turned to Liam with a thoughtful expression. You know, I don't think I've ever met anyone like you. Liam raised an eyebrow, a hint of a smile on his lips. Is that a good thing? Amelia laughed. Yeah, it is. You're different, in a good way. Liam didn't respond right away, but his smile softened. Well, I could say the same about you. For a moment their eyes met, and the air between them seemed to shift. It wasn't just friendship anymore. There was something deeper, something unspoken but undeniable. Neither of them said anything, but the connection was there, growing stronger with each passing day. The night of the Coastal Nights event had finally arrived, and the Lighthouse Cafe was buzzing with life. The courtyard was strung with twinkling lights, and the soft hum of live acoustic music filled the air. Local artists had set up small booths showcasing their work, and the scent of freshly baked pastries and coffee wafted through the crowd. Amelia Brooks stood near the entrance, watching the scene unfold with a mixture of pride and relief. For the first time in months, she felt like things were finally falling into place. Liam Parker was by her side, helping greet guests and making sure everything ran smoothly. Over the past few weeks, he had become an integral part of the cafe's operations, and Amelia couldn't imagine pulling off the event without him. His ideas, his calm demeanor, and his willingness to step in wherever he was needed had made all the difference. You did it, Liam said, nudging her gently. Look at this place. It's amazing. Amelia smiled, her cheeks flushing slightly. "We did it. I couldn't have done this without you." Liam was about to respond when a voice called out from across the courtyard. "Liam, there you are!" Amelia turned to see a sharply dressed man approaching them, his expression a mix of relief and frustration. Liam's entire demeanor shifted, his shoulders tensed, and the easy smile he had been wearing disappeared. Amelia frowned, sensing something was wrong. "Liam," the man said again, stopping in front of them. "Do you have any idea how long I've been trying to track you down? Your father is furious." Amelia's heart sank as she looked between Liam and the stranger. "Wait, what's going on?" Liam sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Amelia, I can explain." The man scoffed. "Explain? You've been hiding out in this small town while your family's been dealing with the fallout of your little disappearing act. Do you have any idea what this has done to the company?" Amelia's mind raced as she tried to process what she was hearing. "Company? Liam, what is he talking about?" Liam turned to her, his expression filled with regret. "Amelia, I wasn't completely honest with you. My name is Liam Parker. My family owns Parker Hotels. I left because I couldn't handle the pressure anymore. I needed to get away." Amelia took a step back, her chest tightening. "So, you're rich? Like billionaire rich?" Liam nodded, his voice quiet. "Yes. But that's not who I am, Amelia. That's not the life I want." Amelia's hands trembled as she crossed her arms over her chest. "And you didn't think to tell me? You've been working here, helping me, acting like you're just some regular guy, and all this time you've been lying to me?" "I wasn't lying," Liam said quickly. I didn't want you to see me the way everyone else does. I wanted to be someone real, someone who could actually make a difference." Amelia shook her head, her voice rising. "You should have told me the truth, Liam. I trusted you. I let you into my life, into my cafe, and now I find out you've been hiding this huge part of who you are?" The man standing nearby cleared his throat, clearly uncomfortable with the tension. "Liam, we need to go. Your father wants you back in the city immediately." Liam ignored him, his focus entirely on Amelia. "Amelia, please. I didn't mean to hurt you. I care about you more than I've cared about anyone in a long time." Amelia's eyes filled with tears, but she quickly blinked them away. "I don't even know who you are, Liam. How am I supposed to believe anything you say now?" Before Liam could respond, Amelia turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. Liam stood there, his heart sinking as he watched her go. The man beside him sighed, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Come on, Liam, let's go." But Liam didn't move. He couldn't leave, not like this. He had come to Seabreeze Cove to escape the life he didn't want, but in doing so, he had found something he never expected: a purpose, a community, and a woman who had changed everything for him. He couldn't let it all slip away. The days after the Coastal Nights event were some of the hardest Liam Parker had ever faced. The cafe, once a place of warmth and connection, now felt cold and distant without Amelia's smile to greet him. She had avoided him entirely since the truth about his identity had come out, and Liam couldn't blame her. He had broken her trust, and now he had to figure out how to make things right. Liam stayed in Seabreeze Cove, despite the pressure from his family to return to the city. His father had called him multiple times, demanding that he come back and stop playing games, but Liam ignored every call. He wasn't ready to leave, not until he fixed what he had broken. One morning, Liam stood outside the Lighthouse Cafe, hesitating before stepping inside. He had been coming by every day, hoping to catch Amelia, but she always seemed to find a way to avoid him. Today, though, he was determined to talk to her. When he finally walked in, the cafe was quiet, with only a few customers scattered at the tables. Amelia was behind the counter, her back turned as she worked on the espresso machine. She didn't look up when the bell above the door chimed, but Liam knew she had noticed him. "Amelia," he said softly, approaching the counter. She didn't turn around. "If you're here for coffee, you can help yourself. I'm busy." Liam sighed, his chest tightening. I'm not here for coffee. I'm here to apologize. At that, Amelia finally turned to face him, her expression guarded. You've already said enough, Liam. I don't need another apology. No, I hurt you, Liam said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. And I know I should have told you the truth from the beginning. But I didn't lie to you about how I feel, Amelia. Everything I've done here, everything I've said to you, it's all been real. Amelia crossed her arms, her eyes narrowing. You don't get it, do you? It's not just about the lie. It's about the fact that you came into my life pretending to be someone you're not. I let you in, Liam. I trusted you. And now I don't know if I can believe anything you say. Liam nodded, his shoulders slumping. I understand. And I don't expect you to forgive me right away. But I'm not leaving, Amelia. I'm staying here. And I'm going to prove to you that I'm not the person you think I am. Amelia stared at him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Finally, she shook her head and turned back to the espresso machine. Do whatever you want, Liam, but I don't have time for this. Liam left the cafe feeling defeated, but he wasn't ready to give up. He knew he had to do more than just apologize. He had to show Amelia that he was serious about helping her and the cafe, no matter what it took. Over the next few days, Liam threw himself into action. He started by reaching out to the local community, asking for their support in helping Amelia. He organized a fundraiser for the cafe, using his business knowledge to plan an event that would bring in enough money to cover the debts and give Amelia the fresh start she needed. The fundraiser was set to take place in the cafe's courtyard, with live music, a silent auction, and a raffle featuring prizes donated by local businesses. Liam worked tirelessly to make sure everything was perfect, even enlisting the help of Amelia's brother, Noah, who had been skeptical of Liam at first, but eventually came around. You really care about her, don't you? Noah asked one evening as they set up tables in the courtyard. Liam paused, looking up from the stack of chairs he was arranging. More than anything. Noah nodded, a small smile tugging at his lips. Good, because she deserves someone who's willing to fight for her. The night of the fundraiser arrived, and the cafe was packed with people from all over Seabreeze Cove. The courtyard was lit with string lights, and the sound of laughter and music filled the air. Amelia had reluctantly agreed to let the event happen, though she had made it clear to Liam that she wasn't ready to forgive him just yet. As the night went on, Amelia couldn't help but be impressed by the turnout. People were bidding on auction items, buying raffle tickets, and donating generously to support the cafe. It was clear that Liam had poured his heart into making the event a success, and for the first time in days, Amelia felt a glimmer of hope. Toward the end of the night, Liam took the stage to address the crowd. He looked nervous but determined as he spoke into the microphone. Thank you all for coming tonight, he began, his voice steady. This cafe isn't just a business, it's a part of this community. It's a place where people come together, where memories are made, and where dreams are kept alive. Amelia has worked so hard to keep this place going, and she's done it with more strength and determination than anyone I've ever met. He paused, his eyes scanning the crowd until they landed on Amelia. I know I haven't been honest about who I am, and I've made mistakes, but being here, in this town, has changed me. It's shown me what really matters, and what matters to me is this cafe, this community, and Amelia. The crowd erupted into applause, and Amelia felt her heart ache as she watched Liam step down from the stage. She didn't know what to say or how to feel, but one thing was clear, Liam wasn't the same man who had walked into her cafe weeks ago. After the event ended and the crowd began to disperse, Amelia found Liam cleaning up in the courtyard. She approached him slowly, her arms crossed, but her expression softer than it had been in days. You didn't have to do all this, she said quietly. Liam looked up, his eyes meeting hers. I wanted to. You deserve it, Amelia. You deserve everything. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Amelia let out a small sigh. I'm still angry, Liam, but I can see that you're trying. And I appreciate that. Liam nodded, a flicker of hope in his eyes. "I'll keep trying, Amelia, for as long as it takes." Amelia gave him a small, hesitant smile. "We'll see." It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a start. The morning sun rose over Seabreeze Cove, casting a golden light across the town. Inside the Lighthouse Cafe, the air was filled with the familiar hum of activity, coffee brewing, plates clinking, and the soft chatter of customers. But today, there was something different in the air, a sense of renewal, of hope. Amelia Brooks stood behind the counter, her hands busy as she prepared a tray of pastries. She glanced around the cafe, taking in the sight of the bustling tables and the smiling faces of her customers. The fundraiser had been a success, raising enough money to pay off the cafe's debts and even make a few much-needed upgrades. For the first time in years, Amelia felt like she could breathe again. The door chimed, and Amelia looked up to see Liam Parker walking in. He carried a small bouquet of wildflowers in one hand and a hesitant smile on his face. Amelia's heart skipped a beat, but she quickly pushed the feeling aside, reminding herself to stay cautious. "Morning," Liam said, approaching the counter. "Morning," Amelia replied, her tone neutral but not unkind. "What can I get for you?" Liam held out the flowers, his smile softening. "These are for you, just as a thank you for giving me a chance to help." Amelia hesitated for a moment before taking the bouquet. "They're beautiful, thank you." Liam nodded, his hands slipping into his pockets. "How's everything going? The cafe looks great." "It's going well," Amelia said, glancing around. "The fundraiser made a huge difference. I even started planning some of the events I've always wanted to do, like the art workshops and live music nights." "That's amazing," Liam said, his voice filled with genuine pride. "I knew you could do it." Amelia looked at him, her expression softening. "You helped, Liam. I may not have wanted to admit it at first, but you did, and I'm grateful for that." Liam smiled, a flicker of hope in his eyes. "I'm just glad I could be a part of it." For a moment, they stood in silence, the unspoken tension between them lingering. Finally, Amelia let out a small sigh. "Liam, I've been thinking a lot about everything that's happened. About you, about the cafe, about us." Liam's heart raced, but he kept his expression calm. And, Amelia continued, "I'm still hurt by what you did, but I can see that you're not the same person who walked into this cafe weeks ago. You've changed, and maybe I've changed too." Liam took a step closer, his voice quiet but steady. "Amelia, I don't want to go back to the life I had before. This town, this cafe, it's all shown me what really matters. I want to stay here. I want to build something real with you." Amelia's eyes searched his, looking for any sign of insincerity, but all she saw was honesty, vulnerability, and a deep longing that mirrored her own. Slowly she nodded. "Okay, but if we're going to do this, it has to be real. No more secrets, no more half-truths." "Absolutely," Liam said, his voice firm. "No more secrets." A small smile tugged at Amelia's lips. "Then I guess we'll see where this goes." In the weeks that followed, Liam and Amelia worked side by side to bring her vision for the Lighthouse Cafe to life. They hosted their first art workshop, drawing in locals and tourists alike, and the live music nights quickly became a town favorite. The cafe was thriving, and so was their relationship. Liam found a sense of purpose he had never known before, helping Amelia and becoming a part of the Seabreeze Cove community. He even started writing again, inspired by the people and stories he encountered in the small town. For the first time in his life, he felt like he was exactly where he was meant to be. One evening, as the sun set over the ocean, Liam and Amelia stood together in the courtyard of the cafe, watching the last of the customers leave. The string lights above them cast a warm glow, and the sound of waves crashing in the distance filled the air. "You know," Liam said, turning to Amelia, "I never thought I'd find a place like this, or someone like you." Amelia smiled, leaning against him. I never thought I'd let someone like you into my life, but I'm glad I did. Liam wrapped an arm around her, pulling her close. Me too. As they stood there, surrounded by the life they had built together, Amelia realized that sometimes the most unexpected people and places could lead to the greatest happiness, and for Liam, leaving behind the life he thought he was destined for had brought him to the one he truly wanted. Together, they had found something real, something worth fighting for. And as the stars began to twinkle above them, they knew that this was only the beginning of their story. Thank you so much for watching this story on Emma's Stories. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more heartwarming and inspiring stories. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to share more amazing stories with you. See you in the next one.